Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at Astral Radiance. Pre-releases have now started, the set list is now out there, and to put it bluntly, a bunch of stuff got cut. I wasn't expecting that many big cuts from Astral Radiance, and a lot of the stuff that's been cut is filler, let's be clear. A lot of the cards cut from Astral Radiance are cards that, to put it nicely, nobody's really going to care about. And I don't say that in a mean way, but honestly, the Pyroar from Battle Region. It's a nice enough card, but I don't think anybody is really going to be terribly upset that the Pyroar from Battle Region has gone and been cut from the set. We'll get it eventually, but it's got an ability that puts 4 damage counters rather than 2 on burn Pokemon between turns. Maybe the odd burn deck here or there will really miss it, I suppose. So let's take the Swanna from Time Gazer. It's just a random stage 1. Maybe Pyroar gets missed by like 4 people who want to play burn decks. Swanna? Nah. Although, every time they cut a Swanna, they've also got to cut a Ducklet, and that Yukimura Ducklet is absolutely amazing, so maybe I'm a little bit sad about that. But the point is, there are a bunch of cards that have been cut, which are quite a bit more important. Shout out to the lovely Joe from Cerebi.net, who did help me when piling this list together. And a massive shout out to Jack Draco Darkrai over on Twitter, who did alert me to some of this stuff as well. And also to Justin Basil, who has gone and put a list together of a set list, which looks to be pretty gosh darn right. So thank you to all those lovely people for giving us a hand. So let's start with the obvious ones. I got a bunch of flack from a bunch of people because I told you that Lucario V-Star and Cleaver V-Star were not going to be in the set. And in a shocking twist that, well, I would say nobody could have predicted, but I did predict super loudly and clearly multiple times, Lucario V-Star and Cleaver V-Star are not in the set. And they were never going to be in the set. You should never have expected them to be in the set. Now, I will say, as a side note, yes, the Rainbow Rare of Cleaver is in the set. But it was always going to be. And the deal is really simple. We had the Lucario V-Star collection, and when cards are taken out to be used as promos, they are taken out of the set. That's the way it always goes. So, because the Lucario V-Star Premium Collection had Full Art Lucario and regular Lucario V-Star, those cards were never going to be in Astral Radiance. And like I told you, yes, regular Lucario V is in the set. It was always going to be. But regular Lucario V-Star and regular Lucario V, they are not in the set. They were never going to be. As a side note, there is no version of Lucario V-Star which is in the set. And the reason very simply is there is no other version of Lucario V-Star, just the regular, so that's not in. If we take a look at Cleaver, it's a very similar situation. And again, I've been calling this for a while, although I did get a whole bunch of people telling me I was wrong. Regular Cleaver V-Star is in the box, so it's been cut. Full Art Cleaver is in the box, so it's been cut. However, your regular Cleaver V is in the set, and your Rainbow Rare Cleaver V-Star is in the set. Because they're not in the box. Now here, because Cleaver V-Star was from a set in Japan, rather than a promo deck, remember Lucario was in its promo deck over in Japan, that means that there is a Rainbow Rare version of Cleaver, so that makes it into the set. But there is no Rainbow Rare version of Lucario V-Star, so it can't be in the set, but because that card just doesn't exist. So yes, we knew this was going to happen. We've known this for months at this stage. What is weirder are some of the other cards being cut. Now, generally speaking, we know that Astral Radiance is a mashing together of Sword and Shield 9A, which is Battle Region in Japan, and Sword and Shield 10, which is Space Juggler and Time Gazer, the double set over in Japan. And then there are some extra things being thrown in, like the Lucario V-Star deck and the Darkrai V-Star deck. The thing is, there are a whole bunch of cuts that have been made, some of which I can explain, some of which I can't. So for instance, weirdly, both Virizion V and Jirachi V, they're gone. They've been cut from the set, they are missing. What is interesting though, is that the full arts of both Virizion V and Jirachi V are in the set. Do you know what that means? It means there's promo boxes coming. Now again, I cannot tell you for absolute certain these products have not been revealed, but again, look at something like, let's look at Hoopa. The regular art of Hoopa was taken out of the set to be put in its own promo box, and they left the full art in the set. Well, that's happened with both Virizion and with Jirachi. The regular versions have been taken out the set, but the full arts have been left in. Now, the rule here is pretty simple. If every version of a card is removed from the English language set, then it means it's been moved into a later set. We've got a couple of examples of that we'll get to in a minute. If, however, only one version has been removed, they've taken it to use as a promo. Now, I can't tell you this for absolute certainty, not till these products are actually revealed, but I don't see any other reasonable explanation. If Virizion and Jirachi were just being moved to a later set, the full arts would also be moved. The fact that they've only gone and cut the regular suggests to me that there are promos of them coming. They've been taken out in the same way that Hoopa was. We'll hopefully hear more on that later. And conversely, we've had the opposite thing happening with full art Palkia V and full art Dialga V. They're just missing, they're not in the set. Now, regular Palkia V and regular Dialga V, they very much are in the set. The cards have not been cut. And the special arts of them are again in the set. They have not been cut. The only ones which have actually gone and been cut are the full arts. Now, this is a little bit weird to me because we generally, and it is a general rule, not a hard and fast rule, but generally speaking, we don't tend to see full arts being cut to be used as promos, unless it's stuff like Lucario and these V-Star collections, but we know Dialga and Palkia don't have V-Star collections. But again, we go back to what I told you a moment ago. The regular versions are in the set, the alternate arts are in the set, the only ones that have been cut are full arts, which basically means Pokemon have cut them because they're going to be used somewhere else. All versions cut, moved to a later set. One version cut, being moved into a different promo product. Can't say for absolute certainty, but that is very, very likely to be what's happened. Now, speaking of cards that have been cut entirely, the Chandeleur and the Roserade from Battle Region. Why is this important? Because Chandeleur and Roserade from Battle Region are two of the cards that had character rares in Battle Region. I assumed, and I think I had good reason to do so, that these were a lock to be included in Astral Radiance and the trainer gallery thereof. And the reason was very simple. Pokemon generally don't split up different prints of a card. Roserade and Chandeleur are new cards in Battle Region, therefore they kind of should be in Astral Radiance, and if they're going to be in Astral Radiance, then their character rares will be as well. Well, they're not. They've been taken out. Now, the Roserade I'm not a huge fan of. The Chandeleur does have a really nice ability that discards 3 cards on the top of your opponent's deck when you evolve into it, which some mill players will quite like, although we've seen it before and it wasn't great on other Pokemon. But the point is, those have been taken away. They'll just be moved into either our August or November set. We're going to get them with the character rares, but they have been moved into a later set. And because both the regular and the character rare have been taken out, that tells us they are just being pushed into a later set. Now, in terms of the other cards that have been cut, I'm not going to sit here and go through an exhaustive list, because many of them are just regular single-price Pokemon that I'm not expecting to see a huge amount of play. But there are a few which I do think deserve special mention. First of all, Darkrai. Now, the Darkrai they've cut isn't a particularly good card. No one's going to really miss it from a competitive standpoint. What's interesting to me is that Darkrai is clearly a focus of the set. We know that Darkrai V-Star is in the set, that has been confirmed. We know that Darkrai is the cover Pokemon for the Elite Trainer box. And I'm not saying they have to put all of the Darkrai in. Clearly they don't, clearly they haven't. But I do find it very interesting that after making Darkrai the cover Pokemon for the Elite Trainer box, they went and cut the single prize Darkrai. That one was kind of surprising to me. But there are a few other Pokemon that have been cut that I do think could end up being competitively viable. I'm not saying game-breaking cards that are going to change the way we look at the game, but I am saying competitively viable cards that some deck builders, like me, are going to miss. So there's a Politoed / Poliwrath deck, which should have been coming around in this set, which unfortunately isn't. And again, I'm not sitting here telling you that it's going to be some kind of amazing deck, but, you know, for 2 energy, 10 damage, 60 more if you've got Poliwag in play, 90 more if you've got Poliwhirl in play, 120 more if you've got Poliwrath in play. You add that all up together, and sure, it's a lot of setup, and I'm not arguing that it's not, but that is a rogue deck I know some people want to have a play around with, and now they're going to have to wait. Cresselia is another very interesting one that I've had my eye on since it was initially revealed. This is the one that allows you to move 2 damage counters from each of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon for just a single energy. But remember, one of the cards we're getting in this set is Gapejaw Bog, which puts 2 damage counters on any Pokemon that is benched while it's in play. So there is a potential here to, you know, have Gapejaw Bog, bench all your Pokemon, and then move all the damage over to your opponent's active, or use this as a counter to any spreading decks that come around. I'm not arguing that this is some kind of meta-defining card, but I'm arguing it's a very interesting card that some, you know, basic Pokemon single energy, some people are going to want to play it. There is a Medicham that should have been in this particular set. It was in the Lucario V-Star box. And this one I actually like quite a lot. For a single energy, translations I should say are all from the lovely Joe over at Cerebi.net, you deal 50 damage, but while you do so, you search for 2 fighting energy and attach them to your bench in any way you like. So in fighting decks, essentially what we're doing here is getting one Medicham set up, and then sure, you're not doing much damage, you're kind of poking for 50, that's not particularly good. But while you're poking for 50, you're continually accelerating 2 energy, and it's from your deck. So you don't have to get it in your discard or get it in your hand or anything like that. This is an interesting Pokemon that some fighting decks may want to play. And then there are 2 cards that have been cut, which I am personally very annoyed about. They actually cut Kamala. Now, firstly, the artwork on here from Hayaganosuke is just absolute top tier. It would have been one of the best artworks in the set, but it's not in the set. And secondly, it's got an ability that says if it's knocked out by damage to an opponent's attack while it's asleep, it doesn't give up a prize. And then 2 energy, 60 damage, it goes to sleep. And I'm not saying it's a game-breaking card, but I am saying it's very, very nice. Now, the one I'm really genuinely upset about, because this was going to be one of the first cards I was properly testing, they've gone and cut the Greedent from Time Gazer. And this makes me genuinely sad, because it's a stage 1 Pokemon for 2 energy, it does 60 damage, and you discard your hand, but if you discarded at least 5 cards, you did 210 damage. Well, 210 damage is a great amount of damage for one-hit KOing Pokemon V, and this would have fit absolutely brilliantly into Zoroark decks. I'm a huge fan of the Zoroark from Evolving Skies, lets you basically discard it and swap it with a stage 1 in your discard. And it's a deck where you're generally playing those 2 colorless energy cards anyway. So I was going to be testing Greedent in like my Wormadam deck. I was going to be playing Greedent in Wormadam. There were 2 cards that I wanted for my Wormadam deck from this set. Mightyena is in, and that's lovely, but they've gone and taken away Greedent. And I think Greedent could really, really work, because you're discarding Pokemon, which helps with Wormadam, you're doing decent damage, you're playing the right energy anyway. I genuinely am a bit upset they've gone and cut Greedent. Greedent was a card I was hoping to play around with. So, to confirm the headlines then, Lucario V-Star has been cut from the set, and the regular V is in there, but the full art V is not. Cleaver V-Star has been cut from the set, though the Rainbow Rare remains, and the Full Art Cleaver V has been cut, but the regular art remains. Same thing they did with Lucario. Both Verizon V and Jirachi V have been cut, the regular arts, but the full arts are still there, which means the only way to get these cards is going to be to get the full arts, but it also means they will be tournament legal with the rest of Astral Radiance, so you can still play them, you've just got to get the full art. And the full arts of Palkia V and Dialga V have been removed, but the regular and the special art haven't, which means something is being planned with those cards later on. And the character rares of Roserade and Chandeleur have been cut, which is very interesting to me. I was not expecting that to happen. Both the regular cards and the character rares have been cut. And then in terms of the other cards I chose to point out that have been cut, we got Darkrai, which is a little bit weird given that it is kind of a focus of the set. The Politoed deck, which I think could be fun. Cresselia that moves the damage counters, Metacham that accelerates energy, Kamala that doesn't give up a prize when it's asleep, and the Greedent, which would fit so well into my Wormadam deck, and I'm very upset that they cut it. There are a bunch of other cards that have been cut, but like I've said, you know, Justin Basil's list has 87 cards that have been cut, although a bunch of them are from the start deck 100 or their reprint, etc. But there are still a sizable amount of cards that have been cut. The ones that have been cut will either be used as promo cards, like I've told you, or they're going to be moved into later sets. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, and now it's over to you guys. What do you think about these cuts? Which ones are you going to miss? Which ones are you delighted have made the set? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.